and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another reacting to my predictions. I enjoyed the Championship one I did last week, so I thought I'd do a Premier League one this week. Basically just looking through my predictions from the beginning of the season and reacting to it and seeing how bad it went. And we're going to start off in 20th with Burnley, and I'm surprised I put Burnley 20th actually, because it always seemed like that sort of club who would just survive with Sean Dyche's manager, and in the end ultimately they didn't. Still think getting rid of Dyche was the wrong decision. Jackson did a good job to start off with, but it kind of just fell on after that. But for Burnley, not their best season. You probably have to say over the course of the season, they probably did deserve to get relegated. Moving into 19th, and I've already got my first prediction right. Watford, Munoz was that guy called? I think it was. He did a good job to get Watford up. He started off not too badly, and his sacking was harsh. Ranieri came in and he turned out to be a bit of a disaster. Hodgson came in and he turned out to be a bit of a disaster. So I think probably the right thing to do would have been keeping Munoz there. I don't think he would have stayed up, but still they would have had the best chance. But just typical Watford season, sacking managers really. Moving on then to 18th, and that was Newcastle. And I'm going to take this and say I did a pretty good one here, because at this point I had no idea that Saudi Arabia was going to come in and take over Newcastle and they'd have all the money in the world. You know what, I'm going to say I didn't do too badly with that one. When they were there, Bruce did a bit of a shambles job, but credit to Haller, he turned it around and did a really good job. Moving on then to 17th, and that is Southampton, and in the end they only came 15th. To be honest, I thought they were having a better season, but they kind of fell off towards the end of the season, went on a horrific run of form. Their last win came on the 16th of April, and before that it was in February, I think. That kind of just sums it up. Really bad end of the season, but there's potential there. If they can discover their form for the first half of the season, it could be an exciting season for Hasenhüttl and Southampton. Moving on then to 16th, I went for Brentford. I thought Brentford would stay up. To be honest, I said they would have had the best chance of staying out of all the teams, because Norwich, even though I did put them higher. Frank did a really good job. Bringing in Ericsson was crucial. Tony as well had a good season. Well, not as good as the season in the Championship, but still a good season. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in the now they've got another season. Will second season syndrome hit? Who knows, but I think they've got a good chance of staying up. Moving on into number 15, and I went for Norwich, and this turned out to be a bit of a disastrous prediction. I had high hopes for Norwich because they did do so well in the Championship the season before. You had players like Pukki and Buendia on fire, Buendia obviously left. I still had some high hopes. Maybe they'd learned from the first time around, but it turned out they hadn't. They finished bottom by quite a distance. So another disappointing season. Moving on then to 14th, that was Brighton. And Brighton are kind of another team that I undersold here. Coming in 9th, I've been waiting to see some proper progress from Brighton and Graham Potter in terms of league position. I think this is the season they finally delivered it. And Potter, I think it has to be said, he's done a brilliant job, and I think he'll continue taking Brighton in the right direction as long as he's still there. The Brighton fans will be very happy, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go in the future. Moving on then to 13, I went for Wolves. Wolves obviously finished 10th, but for me it should have been 8th really, without that horrible run at the end of the season. And for me, Wolves were quite a hard team to predict at the beginning of the season, because I wasn't sure where they'd be. Now they got rid of Nuno. Jimenez, how good was he going to be? Wolves had a really good season without that poor end of the season run, which would be so frustrating. It'd be interesting to see where they came. 12th, I went for Crystal Palace. I'm actually going to be pretty happy with that one, considering Crystal Palace did actually finish 12th. Crystal Palace were another team that were really hard to predict, because I was really impressed with their summer business, likes of Elise, Gerhi, those sorts of signings, as well as Eze coming back and stuff like that. It could have been a really exciting season, but Vieira, inexperienced players coming in, it could have gone one or two ways. And thankfully for Palace, I think it went pretty well. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go next season. Moving on into 11th, and I went for Leeds. Leeds kind of had that second season syndrome that I was talking about earlier. It just wasn't their season. Jesse March, fair play to him, he came in and did a good job to stay up, because I don't know what Leeds fans think, but personally I think Leeds were going down under Bielsa. Just the way they were just conceding for fun and stuff like that. But for Leeds, it's a big summer. Rafinha likely leaving, they need corrections to avoid a relegation scrap. Speaking of another team that needs corrections to avoid a relegation scrap is Everton. I got those two horribly wrong, although I did get Everton in front of these, I suppose. I mean, like Everton, though, it was a disappointing season, wasn't it? Benitez, it was just a crazy appointment. Lampard, I'm not a massive fan of him, but fair play to him. He did a job to keep them up. Am I convinced he's going to be the right manager for Everton long term? No, but let's just see where it goes. Moving on then to ninth, and West Ham. They finished 7th, but I do feel like I kind of undersell West Ham. I thought maybe when they were in the Europa League, they might be too focused on that. Their squad be too narrow, and maybe they drop back a bit. I don't know if that was a popular opinion or not back at the time. I can't really remember. But fair play to West Ham and David Moyes. In the end, they didn't quite achieve their goals, but I think they can still be very happy with their season, competing on so many fronts with such a narrow squad. And then moving on to number 8, I went for Spurs. Yeah, really understood Spurs there. And to be honest, considering Nuno was their manager, I'm not wrong. Yeah, there were some expectations for that. The appointment, but in the end, it was just never going to work. And I think it's Conte just being an absolute world-class manager that really guided Tottenham towards the top 4, in my opinion. Because under Nuno, he probably would have ended up in a similar position. Moving on then to number 7, I went for Aston Villa. I don't know what I was thinking here, being Villa 7th. I thought that maybe they get in the top half, not 14th when they finish, but I'm surprised I put them as high as 7th above Spurs. I think their recruitment at the beginning of the summer was quite good. Buendia I thought would be a good signing, but I'm still surprised I put them that high. And in the end, Dean Smith didn't work out for them, which is a shame. But some signings like Coutinho and Gerrard, they could be improving the next season. Moving on then to number 6, I went for Arsenal. And Arsenal were kind of tricky one to place, because obviously you didn't have any European football, and you were really hoping to see a step forward from Arteta's men this season. They did bring in some questionable signings, I would say, like Ramsdale, but that obviously worked well. It's just such a shame that Arsenal collapsed at the end of the season, because they did all the hard work and really should have got into it after a poor start to the season. They really should have gone into top 4, and I think they'll be absolutely kicking themselves if they didn't. So frustrating. Moving on then to number 5, and I'm going to say Leicester. I think it's testament for Leicester over the last few years that we now consider 8th disappointing season for them when you consider where they were a few seasons back. So I think they will be overall pretty pleased with their performance. They got to the Conference League semi-final. They're not going to have any European football. We see how that worked out for Arsenal last year. Could they be back in contention again next year? I think so. I don't know why I had Liverpool 4th. I do know actually, really, because they had a disappointing season last year. All those injuries. How Van Dijk came back. Is Klopp kind of wearing off? The magic Klopp? That's what some people thought towards the end of last season. In hindsight, having them below Manchester United was a bit of a shambles choice, to be honest. I own up to that. There's not much more I can say. 3rd, Manchester United, dear, above Liverpool. That is a shocking error, I think. United, absolutely terrible season. I think that's how you sum it up. I thought maybe it'd get better when Solskjaer was sacked in not a proper manager, but Ralph Rangnick came in. In the end, it just didn't. They were just as mid. They didn't see much improvement. Did nothing in any tournament, and that's it really. Moving on then to 2nd, and I went for Chelsea in this one. Chelsea, there was just so much potential at the beginning of the season. Lukaku coming in, he looked like a beast in his first few months. They were up towards the top of the table until Christmas, and then it kind of just went pear-shaped from them with that Lukaku interview, and obviously the whole Roman Abramovich thing. I'm not going to go too much into detail on that, but I do feel like that kind of derailed their season. Lost in 2 finals, that's disappointing, but it's disappointing season. It could have been much more for me. But first, I went for Man City. I think I was expecting Man City to just win it all this season. It didn't quite pan out that way because obviously Liverpool had a far better season than we expected. But City as well, they did their best, really, didn't they? They deserve the title. Best team over the season. Kind of fumbled it towards the end. I wouldn't say fumbled it, it's just Liverpool are great. But deserving winners for me. But anyway, guys, that's it for you. Thanks very much for watching. To like, Jessica, videos, comments, and responses. Thanks for daily football news. And subscribe to the channel, I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.